Friday. And we are going to be doing a sign. We did a crate earlier this month. This week we're going to do a little sign. Now I got this at Michael's. It's a 6 by 12 by point 1 3/4. No, 1 3/4, not point. 1.75. That's what it is. I'm gonna measure. You could see. Yeah, it's an 1 point. It might be 1.5. 1.5. So 1.5 inches deep. It's meant to hang this way, okay, or this way. And this is your front. I guess that's the way it's meant to hang because the edges are routed. So as I'm figuring, or mitered. So that's what I'm figuring. But I am going to be using this front and back as a dual duty sign. On the front here, we're going to put welcome and a sunflower. Now, you can use any decor you want. I'm going to show you the file here in just a second and things that you can do to the file. Then I'm going to make it where you can flip it over, and I'm going to do the Wi-Fi password in here so that when I have company, this can sit on my table. It will be sitting on my table because I use it as part of my decor. It's going to be sitting up next to a lamp. So, but you can do a hanger on it if you need to, just simply by doing some greenery across the top of it and maybe like a ribbon or a rope tied handle. I'm not going to be putting a hanger on mine because mine will be standing. But several options for you. Now, I had my husband paint this up just because I was super pressed for time, and he used some Heidi Swap. This came in a set. He just went through my paints and picked some stuff out. I really don't know the color. This was like in a rust kit. So any kind of a brown, rusty brown will work. This one is a Craft Smart suede color. Color is suede on that. And then I used an Apple Barrel matte white. I did spray it down with a accidentally gloss spray, and then I had to go over it with the matte, so I'm fine with it. It's got a little sheen to it, but I did, after he painted it, I sealed it. Now the way he painted it was he did mostly white on the sign just to kind of prime it, and then he went back with the dark around the edges, and then he just smudged some throughout, okay? And then he went over it with the suede while it was still kind of damp. That way you have some of the dark shining through, as much or as little as you like. Now I wanted more on this side. You can paint yours up whatever way you like. Guys, get a damp rag and just smooth it on there till you achieve the look you want. Pat it down in areas with some of the brown or the suede colors inside and out till you achieve the look you want. Worst case scenario, you paint it again. So don't be scared to mess up. You can always add more paint, and if you got too much or it's too dark in areas you don't like it, you can add some more light over it after it dries. So don't panic. You're not going to mess it up. Again, worst case scenario, you can redo the whole thing, okay? Just acrylic paints, and they're not expensive. Now, he did go and knock down and sand with some sandpaper, just a little bit on the edge, to reveal some of the dark that he had added on there for me. And again, on the inside. So you can do that just to achieve your looks. You want to paint it dark and then paint the light over it and then sand it down to reveal the dark, okay? But on the main part of the front, he did do light as a primer and then start doing all of that. So once you have it done, you're also going to need, I'm going to set those to the side, some magnets. These are just what I had in my stash, and they're going to work. They're going to work just fine. And a little bit of hot glue to adhere them, or whatever adhesive you want to use, E6000, anything. But they're 3/4 inch. And I think they are about, I don't know, I want to say 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe a little more. It's close to being 2 millimeters thick. But if you get them, they're called Pro Mags, the 3/4 inch. They're kind of thick, just so you can see that. Okay. So you'll need a couple of those. And then I am going to be cutting a base piece out of chipboard. Just one. Okay guys, for those of you who haven't used chipboard before, and I apologize, my mat is kind of dirty. I have been cutting other stuff on it, and I don't really want to open up a new one because this one is still good and sticky. Now I am placing my chipboard on there, and I am using the brayer, and I am pressing that down. That's going to help hold your material as it cuts. If you've never used the knife blade, you will need your knife blade for this. If you are on an air machine and you don't have the knife blade, you can substitute chipboard, like I said, for cereal box. Just double it up, triple it up, whatever you want. It depends on how sturdy you want. You really don't even have to do this. I just want mine sturdy, because if it's handled a lot, I want it to hold up. So you're just going to tape it down on all four sides with your painter's tape, and I will show you how to remove your painter's tape without tearing up your chipboard when this comes off the mat. So don't worry about putting it on there. Not going to hurt anything unless you remove it the wrong way, but I'll show you. So now that that's all taped down, I'm just going to give it one more good rub, good measure. If you have a knife blade, you're going to calibrate that. Now, what I was talking about on your Cricut papers, you get these on the back side of your Cricut paper to keep it from bending when shipping. You can use that. It's not nearly as thick, and it will cut with your regular blade and your deep cut blade. I've cut it with both. And you can cut two of those, double it up, and you'll be fine. And you can do that on your air machines. So I'm going to go and cut this. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you needed a purple mat, your knife blade, and the 1.5 millimeter chip to do it the way that I'm doing it. But there are other alternatives. Don't fret. You can still use this file. Okay, guys. I have cut my chipboard, and I'm just going to kind of push from the back of my mat and kind of lift it up and pull that out. You'll need to check after each pass, depending on how sharp your blade is, then you may not need as many passes. I was going to tell you how many passes I had, but I'm having a design space issue, and I was cutting without it showing me. I just wanted to show you how to remove your tape. Don't remove it from this edge. Oops, I'm out of camera, I'm sorry. Don't remove it from this edge, okay? That will cause your chipboard to tear. You want to take it from the inside out, okay? Same when you're taking it off your mat. You want to peel that tape from the inside of your chipboard to the outside, because if you peel it back this way, then you're going to have an issue with it tearing your chipboard and peeling up the layers. You can kind of glue it back, but I prefer to try to get that off of there without having to do that. And just peel slow, take your time, and it will come off without damaging. A little piece here. Almost like weeding vinyl. Alright, and I have decided that on one side of my sign I am going to do, on that welcome side, I am going to do vinyl in the yellow and black, and then on the inside I'm going to cover my chipboard with paper. So that's the kind of look that I'm going for here. And so decide if you want to use iron-on, whatever you want to use. I didn't have any yellow iron-on, so that's why I'm going with vinyl. You will need to do a light acrylic spray on top of that acrylic paint so that it will stick. So let me finish cutting and then we'll assemble. Okay guys, here we are. I've got everything cut and I'm weeding my vinyl. And when you weed vinyl, what you're doing is removing the pieces that you don't want to keep, the negative space. Now I'm going to say that I used this font. I knew it was going to be thin, and I mean it's really, really, really super thin. I'm using Cricut premium vinyl, and it's the lay flat kind on the little plastic carrier, and it cut perfectly fine. You will need to weed it really slow, or you're going to use these very fine, lose these very fine lines. That being said, it's really too thin for vinyl, but it may work on a sign because it's not going to be handled all the time. On the back side there, it's just more for decor, so it's fine. But if you're putting it on a cup or something like that, it's not going to stay. First washing, it's going to come off. This one. So when you're weeding, you can leave it stuck on your mat if it helps you hold it down. Just going to start at the corner and get that started. And I'm just going to stick it to my finger, and I'm just going to start jiggling it. Especially with these smaller letters like the inside of the U's and M's and S's, C's, things like that. Sometimes it wants to hang up, but if you just kind of rock it back and forth and play around, you can get it and not lose a bunch of your dots to your eyes and the inside of your letters and all of that good stuff. So just take your time. Hopefully I'm not losing anything here. And then go back and get those counters off the inside. We're just gonna grab those. I can't see that one, so I will say that the Cricut, to me, weeds the easiest. Oh, I was on it and just didn't know it. There we go. Got it. So, let me get that out of there. Don't need that one either. There we go. So now I have that piece weeded and ready to go as well. I'm just going to cut my Cricut piece down here. Work with what I have. I'm just going to place it right on top. And then you can squeegee it, use your scraper. I don't burnish mine hard. I don't find a need for it generally. It just makes it tougher to peel up. I do not. I know a lot of you like to use contact paper. I do not use contact paper. I use transfer tapes. And I use transfer tapes because they have a different type adhesive on them. So when you're working with them, you're not going to leave a sticky residue on your vinyl. When that happens, it can happen at any time. It's hit or miss. It's near impossible to get off of your vinyl. Here's my other little piece. And this is Starcraft. It's the only one I had in that yellow color that I wanted. So I'm going to be using, I think this is, all my black is Cricut and this is Starcraft. I'm just going to burnish it on both sides just lightly. I'm not giving it a lot of pressure. I'm just giving it a little flick. All right. So now I'm going to bring my sign over. I'm going to work on this side first. Let me see which way I want that to go. I think this is the way I want it to go. So that's going to be my top, and then I'm going to flip it over. Yellow piece down first. I wonder if I can get that off of there. I messed up. Your yellow has to go down. I should have stuck it to the back. I meant to stick it to the back. Once you peel it up, peel off your paper backing from your transfer tape. I'm just going to leave it. I'll cut. I'm going to recut just the inside and then I'll lay that in. It happens. So now we're going to work on this piece. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to use art glitter glue, guys. I did this part out of cardstock. This is going to be my inside my shadow box. And I'm just going to run some glue right down through there. I'm going to place it not quite to the bottom. And then I'm going to decide which way I want that in there. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to hold that way. I'm going to set these pieces to the side and find that piece. I'm trying to keep this into focus for you guys, and in camera, working on large projects. Sometimes it's tricky with these cameras, these overheads. So I'm just going to gently peel that away. And now we're going to, I'm going to stand up so I can see this. And I'm going to place it onto my chipboard, and I'm just giving it a gentle rub. I don't need to rub hard to get that to stick, and I'm going to peel that back gently because I don't want that transfer tape to stick to my chipboard, but I do want my letters down. I'm putting a teeny tiny bit of pressure on the letters. When I rub this way, I'm controlling it. I'm not rubbing the rest of this. You don't want it to tear. So just work with that gently. And I'm just going to give it a little rub. And I went with the vinyl on this simply because if I ever need to change it, I can pick these letters off and add new ones without having to redo the whole thing. So that's the method behind my madness. So I like that there. Now I am going to, I think I am going to use some, I don't know. I think art glitter glue will hold this. I think, so that's what I'm going with. When you're doing chipboard, just remember, you don't want to get it too wet. You can spray a acrylic sealer on it lightly. So there we go. Let that dry. Okay guys, I'm back. And all I did was go in and contour and cut the opposite of that yellow piece. So just contour it, hide the contours, and you can get the inside back. If you do the same thing that I did, hopefully you won't. Because it's much easier to do the solid piece on the back than it is to do what I'm about to do. So now I have to line all of those up. Did I get lucky? I think maybe I just did. I'm just going to place that down in there. And I know that sounds like I burnished hard, but I didn't. Trust me. We're just going to peel back. How super cute. Save that. So there we have our welcome on our sign. I'll take some photos so you guys can see it. And then when we flip it over, all I did, guys, was I glued my magnets down. What I did is I glued this down with goop over that dot so I knew where I wanted it. Then I placed this magnet on top of it so that I knew that I had the right polarization on there, and it connected. So put that magnet on, and then I put glue on top of that magnet. Then I rotated my flower in here over it until it lined up where I wanted it, to make sure that I had it in the right spot, which I did. There we go. So that when I placed it down and pressed it, then I knew my magnet was exactly in the spot that I was going to need it to be. And it's still not completely dry. You can see it shifted a little bit. But maybe I did. There we go. But you want to make sure that you get that on there so that it connects. So now when company comes, I can have my welcome out there on my table. And then when company comes and the kids are wanting the Wi-Fi password, I can just place my flower down at the bottom and then they can have the password. Super cute, super easy, super simple.